Hi Rebels! Hope
Hi.
you're doing well. So this is probably the last call for people to do NVDA training, especially those that
You done your training?
been on non-violent direct action.
You doing a bit of direct action today?
Yeah.
Really? What sort of solicitor, what sort of lawyer are you?
I'm a solicitor. I do civil litigation, divorce.
Do you talk on camera?
About 40 minutes.
Yeah, you can wait there, that's fine. And alright, I'll just do
Yeah,
that.
So really worth doing.
So I do family law, so I do divorce, children that matters, cohabitees who split up. I do personal injuries, so
You might be a lady I need to talk to actually, yeah?
yes.
Funny enough.
Road traffic accidents, accidents at work. I do employment law, so people who are treated really badly by their employers.
So were you touting a bit of work today then or what?
Yes, of course. No, I'm here because I'm really worried about the state of the planet, and I'm here for climate justice. I mean, basically, everyone here, everyone in London, everyone in the UK, everyone in the world are suffering a tremendous injustice, and that is the inaction of our governments. Our global governments are inactive in the climate and ecological emergencies.
Just a quick button if I may. You said global governments.
Yes.
Did you watch the World Government Summit last week?
No.
Ah, alright.
Yeah, well, governments across the world are not taking. I mean, some are taking slightly more action than others. Some are not taking anywhere near enough. But basically, we are heading for a catastrophe. I don't know whether you saw the IPCC, the two recent IPCC reports.
The AR5 and the AR6.
You know, and Antonio Guterres.
I heard what
words.
he said. He was trying to say that instead of yous lot being radical terrorists, he said the governments themselves are radical terrorists as a result of their inaction.
Well, exactly. No, he didn't. He said extremists.
Oh, that's it. I beg your pardon.
Yes,
Thank you for correcting me. I
he
appreciate
said
that.
he said activists are called extremists, but in fact, it's the governments are not taking action
That's
as
right,
extremists
that's
because
right.
they are heading us towards extreme events. I mean, you know, you look at South Africa at the moment, which has got terrible floods, but basically in this country we're going to have
Terrible floods in South Africa.
Yeah, in Durban.
I thought that was a hot part of the world.
Well, they've got floods at the moment, and about 400 people have died.
Oh.
But in this country, we're going to have really, really intense heat waves that will last several days. I was actually.
How long does a heat wave normally last?
Well, I don't know, but a heat wave. I was in Cambridge on the hottest day ever recorded in this country, so that was in July 2019, and everything ground to a halt. People were sent home from work. The cafes, restaurants and pubs were closed because the kitchens were too hot to work in. It was unbearable. I managed to stay in the Fitzwilliam Museum where there's air conditioning. I stayed in the cafe all day long. I don't mind hot weather, but this was unbearably hot. Now, if that lasted for more than a day, this country would grind to a halt. We're not set up for hot countries. I'm sure you've been to Spain and places. They have shutters, they have thick stone walls. We're just not set up for those kind of temperatures here. So you'll get old people dying, children dying, you're going to get vulnerable people.
So what's Insulate Britain all about then?
Insulate was wonderful. It was to raise the awareness of the low-hanging fruit of insulating our homes, our leaky homes. We've got the most drafty homes.
But if we're going to all cook because of the climate, surely that insulation is going to be an issue.
Well, if we all got insulated, if the government put in place a programme of insulation, it's such an easy fix for energy saving. Instead of because we have a
it's very short term sort of thing, though, isn't it? Like because you're saying
long term.
Yeah, but you're saying, however soon in this country it's going to be red hot. That's basically what you said. We're not going to be able to function here because it's going to be like it is in Spain. And we haven't got the infrastructure to carry on.
We
doing
need to
things.
avoid. I mean, some aspects of climate change are baked in. I mean, for example, in the global south, people are suffering now. Agricultural production has relatively reduced, for example, in Africa, and by 2030, 700 million people face being dislocated because of their water stress. There's not going to be enough drinking water. They're going to lose parts of the coast. I mean, but in this country, we need to do everything we can, as in all countries, to reduce our carbon footprint. And the only people that can make that happen, that can facilitate that, are the government. So the government, I talk to a lot of people. I do lots of climate surveys, and the public are saying, how do I get a heat pump? I don't know where to get one. I couldn't afford one. I can't afford an electric vehicle. And it's for the government to facilitate these actions and to give us the information.
So what about how the lithium-ion batteries are mined in Africa, and that goes in the electric vehicles? Is it?
It's distressing.
What if people have got a conscious objection to the way that should we be? What's the word? Exploiting these African children?
No, we shouldn't.
Well, so what is this massive push for electric vehicles then? Because until they can be mined in a sustainable fashion or even a fair and just fashion, I would suggest it's not really the answer.
Well, I think the issue is, for a start, it's going to become the law that you can't buy a non-electric vehicle.
I think that's a massive problem then, isn't it?
Well, we need to reduce our footprints. Our roads are so polluting.
But the framework and infrastructure isn't such that these things can be mined and be sourced in a way that is just and right. So how can that be the answer?
Well, I think one of the answers would be to improve our public transport and make it free. I mean, you cannot rely on public transport to move easily around this country. Don't you think it would be good if public transport were free, and then we could reduce the amount of traffic?
I do have free public transport.
You've got a bike.
I've got a bus pass.
You've got a bus pass.
I'm disabled. Right? So I'm just trying to understand where your moral virtues sit when you're spouting onto people to get an electric car when these kids are suffering, getting paid a pittance, and in very hazardous situations, and then trying to further your argument and say it is the answer because the government are saying that you're not going to be able to buy anything other than electric. So that doesn't mean it's the answer. It means there's something seriously wrong with the government, which is what you lot normally say. There's serious issues within government. But when it comes to this, you're not willing to listen to about the serious issues in government. You accept it's the answer. And I just can't get my head around it.
Well, I don't accept it as necessarily the answer. I think that...
So what should we do rather then? Should we not... What's it
The
called?
government needs to transition to a renewable energy economy. At the moment, fossil fuels are smothering humanity. They're feeding climate change. They're funding Putin's war, and the price of fossil fuels are at the basis of the energy crisis and the cost of living crisis. I don't think you can try and take one issue, which is a desperately tragic issue. You can't use that to actually look away from the main issue, which is that our planet is run as a fossil fuel economy. The fossil fuel economy is destroying our planet. We face the most terrible future. Ourselves, our children or grandchildren.
Yeah,
we cannot be bystanders.
I agree.
There are obviously lots of issues about how this is put into place, but first of all you have to establish the baseline being that the fossil economy is absolutely wrong, destructive. I mean, apart from anything else, the pollution caused by our cars, lorries, vehicles on the road is killing people. Tens of thousands every year. Is destroying children's health. So there has to be a baseline where governments of the world, and we're asking our government to end the fossil economy now. We're asking our government to stop all new fossil fuel investment, all new fossil fuel exploration, and to end fossil fuel subsidies.
I'm going to take a wild leap here and say you've not read COVID-19, The Great Reset, have you?
No, who wrote that?
Klaus Schwab.
Is this about, what's this about?
The World Economic Forum.
Yeah,
This is about a restructuring the framework of the global everything.
Yeah.
It pretty much sounds like what you want.
Oh, that sounds interesting. Well, I'll have to read that.
Yeah, Klaus Schwab. Also, another one that you may be interested to look into is Yuval Noah Harari.
Oh, I love him. Yeah.
You love him, do you?
Yeah, yeah.
Amazing. You know that one, do you?
Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah.
We have a winner.
I read that during lockdown.
What about the useless eaters?
Flabbergasted. Well, I thought what was really, really interesting about Harari was that one of the big things he says is that so I was trying to imagine what the future are going to say about us, and I think one of the things that the people in the future are going to say is they're going to say they did that to domesticated animals. They basically tortured domesticated animals.
Oh, that's interesting you say that. So how do you feel about transgenderism and people transitioning from male to female?
Well, it's up to them. I think, great. If you want to do that, do that.
So you're not religious at all?
No. Are you?
Silly question. Yeah, a little bit.
Well, that's, everyone is entitled to their own opinion. If people want to identify as as a, well, let,
Do you
let
think?
them identify as anything they like.
Do you think if people carried on mutilating themselves and having sex with children and all these sorts of wretched,
sex with children
heinous things?
is completely separate
No,
from
no,
the
no, no,
transgender.
no, it really ain't. Listen,
Well,
they're
it
called
is.
minor attracted persons. So anyway, my point
So-
was, if you do you believe that such a society, such a deviant and despicable abomination of a society could carry on, progress through life to get to where we are today, or do you believe there has to be fundamentally some principles laid out that stop people from acting in such degenerate manners so we can prosper and so we
Well,
can...
you're obviously entitled to your opinion, but I mean, I feel
No,
that
but
if
it's
people I
written
want
down.
to
It's written down.
identify-
I'm guided by the book. Now I've got all this stuff that says that you should not be mutilating yourself, and you should not be fornicating, and you should not be laying with a...
So, are you a religious broadcaster?
No, I'm just autistic Jim, and I'll try and interview people.
I'm
but
lawyer Joanna.
Lawyer-
So, do you run your own blog?
yeah,
So, like on YouTube? Or,
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
yeah. But I'll
Well,
just...
you ask interesting questions.
I'll try to help people think.
Yeah. Well, I try and help people think.
You need to read that book because you're a reader. That's why I asked, because you read legislation and things like that. You like to
do,
read.
I
Yeah,
do.
right. That's what I'm saying. So do I. Right? That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I think you'll find it deeply interesting, and to find out what sort of...
All right, I'm going to interview you now. Can I hold the? Can I hold
I'm
the
not sure you're allowed to hold it though.
No.
You definitely...
Trust me, I'm not going to nick it. I'm a solicitor. So, did you say your name was
Jim.
Jim. Now, Jim, can I ask you a question? How do you feel about the climate and ecological emergencies? Does this concern you at all?
I mean, I'm not certain that there's much we can do about it, to be completely honest with you. What's your name, Joanne?
Joanna.
Joanna, I beg your pardon. Joanna, I don't believe there's a great deal as a mere mortal man what I can do about it, because simply for this fact that not only does the earth hot and it goes through cycles of cold and hot, like that is beyond what's it called? They're beyond our... We can't fix that, we can't change that, it's beyond our capabilities. And the fact that they're doing stratospheric aerosol injection, atmospheric aerosol injection, rather.
So, what worries you about climate change?
What worries me about... Well, not a great deal, because the worry and fear is something not given by God, that's something given by someone else. It's not something that you're supposed to pay much attention to or give it much time or thought. You can't worry, you can't change, you can't fix anything.
So, do you have lots of people who view your blog on YouTube?
Not half as many as I wish, because I think
Oh.
there's a real message here somewhere. If you can,
Yeah.
if you can sift through all the shit, there's a real message somewhere, and hopefully people will get to see
Well,
it
you
one
know,
day.
I've just been really lovely to meet you.
Smashing, you too.
Yeah.
Can I have my stick back?
Yes.
Thank-
And I hope you're having a good day.
You too, love.
You take care.
Lovely.
Bye.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye bye.